appreciate you, man, because like I said, you make me better. You keep me on my toes. You keep me connected. You know, watching you guys do your thing and having this opportunity. Like it's easy for me to slip into my own life and what's going on. Shit, I'm getting old. I got this. But damn, I still got something I can bring to the podcast. You know, like I said, we all have a little something that we can give. No matter no
Mhm.
how big or small it is. I was able to give something. So they gave me purpose. They gave me a new day to look forward to. You know.
I never grew up with educators that looked like myself. I always knew that wisdom was a powerful tool, but I also know that oftentimes we neglect it because of who it comes from.
Facts.
It's not necessarily just about being a king, it's more so about becoming a kingmaker.
Man, you got to be close enough to relate, but far enough ahead to inspire. What's going on, beautiful people? This is the Let's Grow Together podcast, the place where diverse individuals and communities come to serve, connect, and grow in the areas that they're most passionate about. This your boy James. I'm joined with my brother Marcus as always. Marcus, how you doing, family?
What's up? What's up? Again, always a pleasure to be back, man. I'm doing well, very vibrant as always. Fresh off of Lilo and Stitch with baby girl, man. So I'm happy thinking about the family oriented vibe that the movie set the tone with, man. So no complaints by any means. But what's new with you, man? What's going on with you, James?
Man, life is amazing, bro. I'm interested though. Did you grow up watching like Disney or anything like that?
Yeah, without a doubt, it definitely played a role.
So was the movie any different than the actual TV series? Was you like telling baby girl like, man, back in the day it was like this? You know what I'm saying? Was anything like that?
Nah. It was in alignment, but as always, there's some form of evolution with it, some new parts, some new characters, things of that nature. But nah, man, they actually did a phenomenal job really making it relatable and telling the same story, but from a different format as well, too. So
Got you.
man, she loves it. She's a huge advocate. She went with her whole class, bro.
Okay.
They just got out of school and their whole class went to go see it. So it was beautiful to really just see the camaraderie as they celebrated the teacher that they graduated with, man. So it was a dope
Yeah.
engagement from a father perspective.
Man, nah, that's dope, man. In terms of kind of programming things I have going on, we recently did like an end of year kind of celebration for the students too. And it was dope, bro. It was like carnival theme. So of course, you know your boy, man. I got a little basketball. My section is basketball. I had some like darts. You know what I'm saying? It was just cool stuff. But of course, soon as the young bucks see some rims, they trying to like really hoop. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, nah, man, y'all can't hoop. But bro, it was a really good time. But uh, surprisingly, bro, I was getting buckets on the little rim. So I was like, yeah, y'all can't outscore Mr. T. So I actually got the high score during the
Let's
carnival,
go.
man. So that was dope, man. But man, it's always dope to see kids in their natural state, like really just having fun,
Hmm.
not worried about finals or school. Like, bro, it's you could just see the bliss and how free they are.
Man, 100%. You're definitely preaching. It's a whole nother character, just that euphoric state. And I was even thinking about that, like, so I didn't sit with baby girl. I was intentional
Okay.
about giving her her distance, but of course I was observing,
Yeah.
right? I
Yeah.
was on it, so I was able to hear kind of some of the side comments, some of the things, and even within the movie, there was a few parts where individuals were like, "Well, why didn't he do this? But why didn't he do that?" And it was just
Yeah.
funny, kind of hearing the child think through what they were seeing simultaneously, and there was a few like kind of like a lovey-dovey situation where everybody was oh, and it was just so cute to see the untainted, raw
Yeah.
element
Yeah.
of the youth as well, man. So I wholeheartedly enjoyed every bit of it, man.
Nah, that's beautiful, man. It just gives you an opportunity to kind of be a fly on the wall and see how she just naturally, you know, mingles with her friends. That's dope as ever, bro. That's dope as ever.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna tell my baby pulled me aside like my ex is here. I said, baby, you don't have
Bro.
none of that right now. But yeah, it's been a fun journey to be on the other side. And my mom
Yeah.
telling me everything that I did, I'm gonna get back, and I'm seeing
Yeah.
full circle.
Yeah.
But I said all that to say, man, let's switch gears a little bit, man. What do you have for us today in the form of a quote as we get ready to kick it off?
Man. So today I have a quote here from Muhammad Ali. Service is the rent you pay for your room here on earth. Marcus, man, you
Mm.
already know, man, coming from the nonprofit background, like how does this resonate with you? What's your thoughts?
I mean, I would just think about, they always say you ain't gonna never see no bus behind a limo, right? Especially when one is containing a casket or something, you can't take it with you, right? So make sure you're paying it forward. And ultimately, we're put on this earth to make it that much better, to extend that hand, to be able to develop and pour into the next. So I think it's not only like your objective, your mission, but it's your task, it's your assignment, right? To be able to pour into and sow into others, man, is what I think about. What do you think about when you see that?
Man, I'm right there in alignment with you, bro. I truly believe that each and every one of our purpose is to serve and to create. I believe that no matter what you try to do, if you the dopest barber in the neighborhood or if you the dopest astrophysicist in the world, like you are serving people at the end of the day. And at the same exact time, you're creating, right? That barber, he is creating an image or a look for someone, right? And then that astrophysicist,
Mm-hmm.
he's in his bag creating what he needs to in order for the environment to thrive. So for me,
Mm.
man, I truly just believe like however you choose to serve, that is your rent to be here. Because it's basically like saying like if you're not serving, if you're not doing anything, you pretty much just wasting your time.
For sure. But the only way to serve in the midst of being creative is to let go as well, too.
That's
Right?
real.
You can't hoard it. You have to be able to release it. I think about the butterfly, the cocoon. The butterfly that stayed in the cocoon, nobody would know the beauty that was associated with it, right? It's when
For
it
sure.
is able to take off and it is able to contribute and others be able to view, see, and utilize it for what it is. So I love that. I think that's spot on. And I'm very excited for our guest here today because, man, when I talk about like servant, when I think about just gratitude, when I think about paying it forward, like this man is the epitome of that, man. So Carl, I know you're going getting ready to hop on with us, man, but bro, I'm excited to one, pick your brain in this conversation today, but two, as you see this quote, I'm very interested to get your perspective on what this means to you and how you apply it to your day-to-day life as well.
First off, thank you for having me on today, or tonight, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
as far as you're talking about giving, I mean, we put it like you talking about serving. We'll put it to give. Um, Something is put inside of us to help the next man. So if we just holding on to it, we ain't doing what we're supposed to be doing. We're not honoring where it came from.
Mm-hmm. Nah, and again, I think you definitely embody this. I think this goes hand in hand with the quote that I always hear you say. You damn near preach it, to be honest with you.
I
I
got
remember when
to.
I first met you. I remember when I first met you 2 years later. Every time we're chatting, you still preaching this to me, man. I damn near finish it for you whenever you say it, man. One thing you always say is build a man before you build the brand. I know this is one thing
Yes.
you generally live by, and I'm curious to know, like, what does that mean to you, and how have you applied that within your success within engaging the community?
Well, it came. I picked it up from something I saw one time, and what it was is when Michael Vick first got out of jail, he went to Kevin Liles, who was a record executive for Bad Boy. He's like, "Look, I'm trying to get my image back. I'm trying to get in people's good graces. What can I do?" And he told Vic, he said, "Look, you have to build the man to build the brand.
Mm.
Show the people who you are to help sell what you want to push." Well, for years I talked about PBM, which is Positive Black Men, but I wasn't a PBM. People knew it, but that's all it was. They knew it. I wasn't a PBM. Once I became the Positive Black Man or started working to become the Positive Black Man, I got more traction. I got more notice. I got more doors open. And that's why I just try to do it. I am, as Jay-Z said, I'm not a businessman. I'm a business man. So I have to sell myself with everything I do. I mean, if I'm pushing the positive in the street, I have to be positive.
Yep. That's real.
So that's
Mhm.
how I apply it every day. I mean, I try to what I rock with me. That's the way to look at it sometimes.
Yeah, bro, it's so funny, man. Man, Carl, thank you for coming on the show first and foremost. But um, I promise you, I say to my girl all the time, like I'll do something, and I'm like, man, I rock with me, and it's like it's funny because it's like I really do. But it's a couple things that you said. First, build the man before the brand. Um, Cody, Chuck, all of my AGGF guys, they come from this same school of thought. When we were in network marketing, they talked about don't chase money, right? Because if you chase money and you have low character, the money gonna continue to run from you. So I think about it in the
Mm-hmm.
same way, right? It was like they told us build your character first, and then you'll attract the money. And then
Yeah.
it reminds me of one of my favorite quotes, where it's, you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. Just like you said, until you started becoming a positive black man, it was like, man, like people saw you, people heard you, your message was dope, people rock with it, but it was like the doors weren't opening because you were trying to attract something you wanted, but you hadn't become it yet. So shout out to you. I want to ask, what do you think is the biggest mistake men make when they skip personal development and then go straight into entrepreneurship?
Mm. Well, I mean, a lot of guys. The first thing we think about is the dollar.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
You got to. It's cool to get the dollar, but what you gonna do with the dollar?
Yeah.
How you gonna keep the dollar? How you gonna grow the dollar? You have to look at the whole thing with the dollar. I made a bunch of money over my life, but if my mind wasn't right, I didn't keep it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's real.
So
And also to your point though, and I know we've had a conversation too, is like, why are you working to obtain the dollar? Are you working to obtain the dollar to invest in others, or are you working to obtain the dollars to appease others? I think a lot of times it's the latter of those, right? You want the funds to have the car, to have the whip, to live a lifestyle which is going to attract a certain energy, which isn't really going to be conducive to you long term, right?
yeah. Well, the thing
Yeah.
about it is when you're chasing the dollar and you're chasing all the look of the dollar, you sometimes forget what the rest of your life.
Yep.
I worked in a factory for 15 years. I lived in that factory chasing the dollar. But what happened was I was leaving my son's football games. I was leaving life, for that dollar. I hung out that couple nights a week with my money, but there were a lot of things I missed.
Yeah.
And sometimes as men, as far as growing, and we don't see that part of it. We just see that we got to get this money, we got to take care of the family, we got to get this, get that, and show the world that we got it. But for real, we got it
Mm-hmm.
already.
Yep.
Oh yeah, and you said so much there, and I remember in the early stages of having Avery, that was one thing that you told me as well, is just make sure I'm present. I thought me being present was having the funds, being in a position to be able to cash out wife whenever she needs something. But I noticed my only real interaction with her was like via phone when we were FaceTiming, right?
Yep.
That was me seeing my baby grow up. And in the beginning, I thought I was doing what I was supposed to be honest with you,
Mhm.
right? And it took men like yourself and other mentors to be like, listen, like, but that's skin to skin contact, right? This is time you're not gonna get back, things of that nature. And I appreciate you. I appreciate you more than you know, man, because I feel like if I wouldn't have heard that early on, I would still live with that mentality as well. Again, I wouldn't be able to say the same story about being going to watch Lilo and
That's
Stitch
real.
with
That's
my
real.
daughter as well, because I would have been FaceTiming her at night, hearing the story, hearing it from another perspective, opposed to being able to see it firsthand. And that's all we got in this life, right? The time, the things that don't have a monetary value associated with it. And I want to really ask you, like, where did you get that mentality from as well? Because man, like when I think about community father, community aunt, community, all the above, like I think of you wholeheartedly, man. And I'm curious to know. I think Betty might have had something to do with that, but can we talk a little bit about
Yeah.
that as well?
Well, you know it came from moms. You know it came from moms. But to be honest, man, I'll be, what's the word? I'd be totally transparent with you. I went through a section in my life where I just about lost it all.
Hmm.
And I had to look at what I had over what I wanted, what I needed over what I wanted. While I was working, before I became disabled, I used to throw the parties at the park. I rent the park, throw some money at it, talk about PBM. And like I said, I wasn't quite a PBM yet, but I wore the shirts.
Yeah.
But, that was that. I threw the party on Saturday. I went back to being damn Carl on Monday. Well, when I lost everything, when I got stripped, what happened was I got to seeing what I had, what I really needed over what I wanted. People started showing me that they wanted what I was given, but weren't really pouring back. So as I started doing more community events, the simpler things brought me the most joy. When I wasn't trying to impress anybody, I was just being me. I was easy. I was with my family more. I was having more fun with that than out in the street. So it just made me start looking at, damn, do I really need this? I mean, I know I want it, but do I need it?
Yeah.
And dealing with my needs over my wants just made me enjoy life better because I had a lot of what I already wanted.
Mm, that's good, man. But I think what's interesting is that I think most people have to go through some form of adversity. Like something has to happen that makes
Yes.
us think like, all right, this can't be it. Like I have to change something, or if I continue doing this, it's not gonna end well for me. Whatever the situation may be, because I see insert situation. But I want to ask you though, like once you, because you said everything was stripped, like what was like one routine or principle that as you were going through that process you were able to ground yourself in, and that you can share with us, and maybe another man can take that same principle and get through that situation.
Well, I always like I tell Marcus all the time, we all bring something different to the table. When I was doing my things at the park, I love to grill. I love to feed people.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I didn't have the money to finance it, even though I didn't have some of the extra food, I had what I had to give. Being able to do that and still be productive and be a part of, the positive, that's what saved me.
Okay.
Finding that thing that I can do. Like me and Marcus joke sometimes, we're going to, us doing something with the kids together. I can't go play ball with them, but I can feed them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can bring that to the table.
Yeah.
While he takes them and play with them, then bring them back. We're going to feed them. Then when we got them, we're going to talk to them at both times.
Yeah.
Just realizing what I can do. What I always say, we all have our own it. And grilling saved my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it.
Man.
I want to ask you with that too, because I know grilling is your passion, but I also know that, I mean, I've seen firsthand, bro. Like you feed hundreds on hundreds on hundreds of individuals. If they hungry, they can come get a plate.
Yes, sir.
I know from experience, right? Sometimes the desire doesn't always meet what may be attainable because of, to your point, what's in that bank account, what's in that, right? There may have been
Mm-hmm.
times where you had a vision that was so grandiose, but maybe that bank account didn't meet that. How are you able to fill the gap during that as well, too? And I know oftentimes, you're leaning on faith, you're leaning on different partnerships, things of that nature. But I'm curious to know when you really did have that PBM mentality, when you were going hard, but you may not have had all the resources to go about really manifesting what you desired. How tell me how faith continued to push you through and how you were able to bridge the gap in some of those times as well.
Well, okay. One time I did an event. This is back during the early days. I went out, spent all this money. I was hit the radio, put out flyers. I thought I was gonna have hundreds of people there, and I might have had about 30, maybe 40 people show up. Oh, I was hurt. I was pissed. But what happened was at the end, a mother came up to me with her kids. Hey, thank you for Mr. PBM for what you're trying to do. So it goes back to that thing where you say, well, I got 2 or 200. I'm gonna do what I got to do to make sure they straight.
Yep.
I would love to feed thousands. If I got it, you know my motto, Marcus. If you kill it, I'll grill it. But the thing behind it is, I'm just gonna do. I'm gonna work with what I got, and I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Hey, to know me is to know that I'm giving you what I got. I
That's
ain't gonna
good.
shit you. Excuse me. I'm not gonna serve you nothing I wouldn't eat, and I'm doing it because I want to do it. And
Yeah.
my thing is, why not do it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Man,
Mm-hmm.
something one of my mentors used to say, man, and I keep thinking about this as I hear Carl talk, is like sometimes, Marcus, like you said, you operate on faith, right? But I truly do believe that like when you give, you will receive. Like you don't know where it's gonna come from. Like you don't know. I'm like, listen, but it's a principle that he used to tell me. He was like, God will never fill a full warehouse. He used to tell me that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I'm like, I didn't get it. I'm like, what are you talking about? But he like, man, it's already full.
Mhm.
You got everything you need until you start unloading that. You know what I'm saying? Giving it away, selling it, whatever you got to do to come up off of it, right? It's impossible
Mm-hmm.
for me to give you more. So Carl, man, I love how you like, man. I'm just giving what I got. Like this is what it is. Like and you genuine with it. And I think that's why you were received the way that you are. Even when you wasn't a positive black man at the time, right? You still had the qualities that positive black men have. And what's crazy is you said it in the beginning as well. Like everything you need, you already had. It's just about us
Mhm.
figuring it out. It's so
Yeah.
crazy, man. I believe all of us are perfect beings, man. Life just conditioned us to believe some crazy stuff. So we act out. We
Mm-hmm.
believe that the dollar is important. We believe that the clothes is important, right? But like you said, the small things, the seeing the kid happy that they got the grilled hot dog, you know what I'm saying, and they going to get their friends and they all come together like that. That's the joy. That's the piece that I'm going after. But you kind of mentioned grilling a little bit, man. I want to kind of talk about your business, Flip Flop Sauce LLC, man. One,
Yes, sir.
where did you get that name? And then two, where did your love of grilling come from?
Well, family reunions, the excuse me, going to the cookouts, going to the cookouts, the family reunions. Food always brings people together.
That's for sure.
Mhm.
And my godfather was a grilling guy, and I watched him do his thing, and I watched him and his brothers, not necessarily his blood brothers, but
Mm,
his people that he kicked it with. I watched them do their thing, and it was always around the grill. That grill and that cooler, they was always side by side. So
for
just,
sure.
just so just
For
doing
sure.
that, I love people. Because my thing is, the more people I know, the better off it is.
For sure.
Whether I know you for the good or I know you for the bad, but I still know you, so I know what I'm gonna get. So I mean, just coming together and feeding people, and you asked me about the sauce. I got to tell you, it's crazy. When I created the sauce, it wasn't to be a business.
Yeah.
It was just something to talk junk with and have at the cookouts to make people keep coming.
Yeah.
And what happened was the people kept asking, man, Mr. Carl, what is this sauce? And I told them the story was I looked down at my feet, I had some flip flops on. I
That's
said, it's
real.
called flip flop sauce. They said, why that? I said, it's so good you put on a flip flop and eat it.
Yeah.
It stuck. And like I said, I still wasn't trying to take it to a business, but people would come to the cookout and say, Mr. Carl, can we get a bottle? Look, I just got what I got for the cookout. Well, look, bring me a bottle next time. Well, that right there, I started making some extra bottles, hustling those to help me fund the next cookout.
Yeah.
Maybe a year, not even quite a year, someone approached me about being an investor. Talked to them, and it all came, to be honest, because of the community cookouts.
Yeah.
Um, I created such a buzz that someone talked to somebody at Food Line for me, which is our grocery store here. They put the word out. I had that feel good story. They figured they'd give me a chance. Before they got it in the store, it was considered on back order. That's how much people were ready to
Yeah.
support
Yeah. Yeah.
the sauce and the mission. So I tell everybody, man, I'm so thankful for the community, which has given me the flip flop sauce. And my goal with that is a percentage of what I get from the sauce has to come back to the community.
Mhm.
Man, hold on. We got that's
Yeah.
awesome, man. What's
Hey, we
so
we we
hold
about
on.
to
I
get
got
some of that flip
yeah.
flop sauce in
Hey,
Chicago.
hey,
That's what we
for
finna do.
sure.
We finna have it
Hey,
in
look.
y'all Aldi's and whatever stores y'all got up
Yeah,
there
yeah,
too.
yeah, man. Send me a
Let's
cup.
get sauced.
Hey, man, send me a couple bottles. I actually purchase it. You know what I'm saying? I buy a couple bottles, man, and be the pilot. You know what I'm saying? But
Appreciate you.
I wanna say something, man, because I keep hearing what Carl is saying, and it's so dope, man. Because Carl, like, man, I started hustling little bottles on the side to pay for the next cookout. I'm like, just keep doing it for the community, man. So it's like it's only right, like you said, that the
Mhm.
community has to love you back and get that love back, man. So shout out to you.
I appreciate that, man. Hey, look, before we go any further about me, man, thank you guys for what you're doing.
Yeah,
You know, um, some of the stuff that the reason I do a lot of stuff I do and say a lot of things I do is because someone shared it to me. Someone looked out for me. Me and Marcus have our talks, and I tell him, I'm trying to use the right words because if I've stepped in something,
Yeah.
I don't want you to step in the same thing.
Yeah.
If I've made a mistake,
Mhm.
I don't want you to make the same mistake. And that goes back to that giving thing.
Yeah.
Like you said, what good is it for me to hold it if I can share it?
Yep.
And that's the way I just try to live with it.
Yep.
So you brothers just keep doing what you doing. You
Yes,
guys
sir.
make me better.
Yes, sir.
And
We receive
with the
that.
example you said, you make it a whole lot easier. James, you said something a little bit earlier, and that made me think. I was always told a hoarder doesn't have room to accept any more blessings. You know what I'm saying? And I think Carl is a great example. Like, my boy shipping everything out. Look, my boy gonna sell sell the sink to make it work, man. And again, like, I've genuinely sat down and just studied this brother, man, and he is the most transparent, holistic individual who I've come in contact with throughout my years of doing this. I think James might be able to align with me as well. A lot of people who have found success on a consistent basis, there's, I don't want to say there's an uppity vibe to them, but there's like a gatekeeping element, right? I found success. I got what I got going on, and now other individuals who are doing something in alignment or looking to support the community, it isn't always received. And I found it as well, being a young black man. I was a little confused. Like, dang, I thought, they want to pass it off right to the next young buck to come around. But that's one thing that I can say, bro. Like, you open up your arms wholeheartedly, right? Obviously, you're gonna analyze the individuals prior to, but man, I can't tell you how many times I'm telling mentees games that I got directly from you. Like, and I let them know I got this from my OG Carl. I don't mind giving you the credit by any means, but I think it's so vital for when somebody has found success, seeing another young man who's working in a similar field to be able, to your point, ensure that they aren't tripping over those same hurdles over and over again. Because that's when people get into that competitive edge, that competitive spirit. And to your point, we can do more collectively together than we can apart. So you
Yes, sir.
embody that, man. And I love that so much about you. And we're gonna talk our mess to the day we get up out of here, man. I remember Carl asked my dad, he said, look, now that you know me, is it okay if I pop him and get on him when I need it as well too? And I just fell out laughing, like, yo, like, being able to have a father in another city, right? Another uncle in another city, somebody who genuinely cares about you, who really loves you and wants to see the best out of you, and gonna look you in your eyes and tell you when you messing up.
Yeah.
That is so undervalued, bro. And I think you add so much value to the community outside of just the cookouts. Like, those transparent talks, man, go so far. So again, man, I'm so blessed to have you on the platform, sharing your story, letting you know all the great things you do, giving you your flowers, letting the rest of our audience know, man, I'm beyond appreciative, man. And I just wish everybody had a Carl in their life to be as successful, man.
Facts.
Well, look, tell them to hit me up. I got them. But the thing about it is, though, it's the way I look at it is like this. I'm gonna be gone one day. I need you to be there for mine.
For sure.
So if I'm gonna take care of mine, I want to take care of mine from the grave through you.
Yep.
Through both of y'all. Yeah, who's to say my grandkids may not roll up to Chicago one day?
Yeah.
Well, now they got somebody up in Chicago to look out for them.
Yep.
Build these relationships that carry over. It ain't about me. Yep. I'm good. I got what I need. But what I want to do is just keep passing this, keep sharing what somebody shared with me.
Yep. Man, Marcus, you said, you was talking about earlier how, like, people gatekeep stuff. And I think part of it is because they think it's theirs, or they think it came from them. Like, they think that they was just this magical magician dude that came up with this idea and became a millionaire. And the sad reality is that everything in this world exists, right? It's gonna be here when it was here before we got here. It's gonna be here after we got here. So for somebody to think that something they accomplished during this lifetime, don't get me wrong, you might put together a combination of things that was created already. But what I'm saying is that all of this came from somewhere else, a higher power. And it's like, if you're not giving it away, it's almost like, man, like, I don't know. To me, it just looked like, why you being stingy with something that ain't yours? But Carl, I want to come back to you, man, because we were talking about the sauce a little bit. I'm interested in asking you, was that like a family recipe, or did you just kind of, throw some sugar and spice and everything nice together and just create it?
Okay. In DC, we got a sauce called mumbo sauce.
Okay.
I was actually trying to make mumbo sauce, but I didn't have all the ingredients. I looked in the cabinet. I said, okay, let me throw some of this. I took it to the park. and it was a hit. And
Yeah.
luckily, my wife told me to write it down.
Yeah. It's funny, man. I got a couple recipes like that too. Like I'm like, all right, let me just, all right, yeah, and it ended up coming out a hit. But the ironic part, I never write the stuff down. So when I try to recreate it, it's a
Been
hit or
there, done
miss.
that.
It's a hit or miss, man. But
to
yeah,
take note from OG, man. But you talked about the wife, right? James and I are
Yes, sir.
so big on giving flowers to our counterpart. So you are a great phenomenal man, but every great phenomenal man has that counterpart beside him. So I want to learn a little bit more about how she has been supportive throughout your journey, right? There's been ups, there's been downs, there's been peaks, there's
Mm,
been valleys. I want to talk a little bit
I need a
more
drink.
and I wanna hear a little bit more, man, about how she has continued to be a rock throughout your journey and your tenure, and all the different things that you've engaged on as well.
Well, the thing with her, and I tell everybody, her and my son saved my life.
Mm.
They gave me purpose. They gave me discipline. Growing up in D.C., it was about how can I put it? Enjoying life. When was the next party? What was I gonna wear? Who was I gonna chase? That was life. Okay. Um, I grew up in a single family home with my mom, and I'll be honest with you guys, I wanted to be a father before I wanted to be a husband.
mm,
Mm.
More than I wanted to be a husband at first. So when we connected, I'll be honest, I have two stepsons. But the day I walked in, they became my sons. I wanted to give them what I didn't have. So they gave me that. It goes along with something I always say: it's bigger than me. My actions, my actions carry over to them. I start thinking before I reacted sometimes because I didn't want nobody else to raise my sons.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Um,
Mm.
they gave me that purpose, and sometimes how can I put it? Everybody's with you ain't with you because you're
Mhm.
gonna have partners on your teams and all that. Everybody ain't with you, but you still got to come home to somebody who is with you.
Mhm.
And when I say that, I mean you can be messed up in the head, and she said, "All right, let it go, let it go. You still got to do this. You still got to do this."
yeah,
And it kind of keeps you. It goes back to I got what I need. Maybe I ain't need all them extra people around me at the park. She makes sure I got the van loaded up when I'm ready to go do my feedings. All right, you get your tongs, you got your charcoal, got your meats, got your this. I got that supervisor
yeah,
sometimes. You know what I mean? But I also got some. But after 32 years, I also got somebody I can laugh with and laugh at. And we go back and forth. The biggest thing I can tell any of you young brothers, man, make sure y'all laugh sometime.
yeah,
You're gonna go through enough trying moments. Sometimes just laugh.
yeah.
So
That's good, man.
that's what she been.
That's real good, man. I always love hearing about you know, lengthy like relationships. Like I always hearing about it and hearing that they still good. And then people just like, man, just laugh, man. Like look at the little things, enjoy that. Because
Yes, sir.
at the end of the day, it's that's what's most important. You kind of talked a little bit about this, but I want to kind of dive a little bit deeper into you growing up in DC.
Mhm.
How did that shape your mindset, ambition, and then your sense of responsibility coming from DC?
Well, DC is a hustler's town, a hustling town.
Yeah.
Okay, and one thing about me is I had a strong mom,
Mm-hmm.
and her thing was she wasn't gonna let me get caught up. She made a point of exposing me to different things. One thing about DC is, um, like, okay, the high school I went to school with embassy kids.
Okay.
I grew up in the hood, not in the projects, but the hood. Only difference was they had rent control, we didn't. But we still was eating noodles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But my mom exposed me to different things. So that made me, as I got older, be able to handle different things. In the area I grew up in, there wasn't maybe two or three white people. The school I went to, shit, I had everything, every nationality up there.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I'd have stayed right in that little world, that's all I would know. That's the only way I know how to talk. That's the only
Yeah.
way I know how to think. DC gave me a little bit of everything. which has helped me down in North Carolina. Everywhere I go, I can rock with anybody.
That's real.
The versatility, the duality of dabbling in both realms. It sounds like definitely helped you be able to build rapport with different people. I've seen you at a bar, and he can talk to everybody who walk in the bar, man. From the individuals behind serving, the managers, really all the above, man. Having that gift for gab, I have seen firsthand. I think that's allowed you to really be successful across the board. What were you about to say?
Well, I'm gonna tell you this. One of my sayings is, I know jokers from the corner to the corner office, and you got to be able to survive on both,
Mm-hmm.
especially as a black
Mm-hmm.
man.
That's real.
Mm-hmm. Boy. I learned that a while ago, man. And shout out to ADP, man. That was one thing I really enjoyed about that role is being able to have somebody in every single space, in every single spectrum to be able to call on whenever you need them. And you don't realize you need them until you in a whole nother environment. You don't have them same contexts in your Rolodex to be able to come through. But again, I think your journey, the relationships you've been able to build throughout it are a testament to your work ethic and the person you are as well. Because again, I don't know anybody in the city that can even talk down on Carl by any means, man, because of that rapport and that relationship you've been able to build. And I promise you, if anybody was to, they'd probably get smacked by a few different people for real, for hating. So I saw that to say, but in pivoting, man, I'm curious to know what are some different values and habits that have made everything possible from you being able to serve people, being able to mentor leaders. What are some different habits or different attributes that were ingrained in you to be able to really pay it forward as well too, and ensure that you are the man who you've grown to be?
Just I didn't see it then, but listening to my mom, man. Watching her do her thing. I mean, I didn't realize I didn't have a lot until I
Mm.
got out.
Yep.
I ain't missed no meals. Hell, there were times when she might not eat. I'm gonna die, but hell, she didn't have it.
Mm.
My mom told me when I got older a little story, and we laugh about it. She used to go to the Belks or the Macy's and buy something a while ago, okay? But she saved the bag, and then she might get my stuff from Sears and put it in a Macy's bag to make me think I was getting.
Yeah, yeah. That's
It was a just seeing how she handled stuff. I mean, her thing was she was blessed to have me.
Mm.
She I was her responsibility. You know what I mean? So watching her do her thing, you never knew when she was down. She said, "I don't give it. I don't care what you got in your pocket. You always hold your head up."
Yep.
Stuff like that. And that just is what carries me. Sometimes things may get to it, but still, I'm still blessed. I'm blessed to be here. Um, like I said, I look at sometimes at what I have over what I want. Man, I already got that. I'm good. I mean, my shoes are straight. I mean, I just try to apply that. That hey, I'm blessed,
That's
and I
real.
want to bless those around me.
That's real, man. That's super real. Man, I got a more like a direct question for like the young men that's listening. So
Hmm.
for the young men that's listening who may feel lost, under resourced, and unseen, what's your message to him? What can he do today to change his story?
See himself first. Decide who he wants to be. I mean, figure out what he wants to do.
Hmm.
Because some stuff you can do with nothing.
That's real.
Just putting the best you out there can open all types of doors. Being humble can open doors. Being real can open doors. Okay, you ain't got it, cool. But you got this. You got you.
Yep.
You got a good mindset. You got a good work ethic. You got loyalty. And that's enough to help you get something. Just being honest.
Yeah.
Accepting what it is sometimes. And realizing what your wants, I mean your needs over your wants.
Mm. One thing you told me, Carl, a while back, I don't even know if you remember. It was stay curious. It was stay curious but stay humble. Right? That's
Yeah.
how I interpret it, at least. And how I've been able to apply that is understand that, one, I don't have all the answers. There's individuals like yourself that I can always be able to pick your brain about, but be humble in the fact that when you tell me things, I may not agree with it now, but I will find myself quoting you later on down the line, like, "Dag, okay, I see exactly what he meant at this point in time." But again, also understanding that I'm at this role in this place and time, and you've already been here. You've already overcame that. So there's so much wisdom within that gap. But again, be humble to understand that somebody like yourself is telling me it out of love. Somebody is telling me it out of sincerity. And don't be so quick to want to grow older, right? And what I mean by that is a lot of times the youth in which we engage with, they want to grow, they want to be mature so they can make certain decisions which aren't
Yeah.
really which aren't really going to better them long term, right? One
Yep.
thing we always say is one thing millionaires, billionaires would give up all their money in the world for is, that tenure, that life, those different experiences all over again. So understand you are where you are for a reason, but gravitate to someone like yourself who is in a position where they will be in the future to be able to overcome some of those hurdles as well, man. And I'm telling you, man, that has stuck with me so much, and that's why I find myself really gravitating to older black men who remind me of a future version of myself, or that I desire to strive to be like, man. So again, just
Thank
just
you, man.
adding on to some of that. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I appreciate that. Like I said, you make me better, bro.
Yeah.
You make
Likewise,
me better.
man.
And I mean, we have to, the same way I get something from you, you get something from me, I get something from you. Years ago, I went on a mentoring camp. My mindset when that was the first time ever doing it. I said, okay, I got all this stuff in me. I'm gonna put on these kids. But the thing about it is, only kids I was really interacting with was the ones that I knew. I had to take, I had to listen to another kid. I had to look at what they were going through. I had to learn from them how to deal with their situation. My situation in my house is, okay, I told you to do this, go do it. Or we're gonna handle it this way.
Yeah.
But when you're dealing with somebody else's kid,
Yeah.
I had to kind of think of different ways to handle it, which I take that and I said that I'm going to use this to make me a better mentor. A better mentor doesn't always just give you something to say, follow this. Take it and make it your own. Everything that, like you were saying earlier, nothing's new. All this stuff has been here before.
Yep.
But somewhere down the line, somebody added another button, another spice, another this, another that to take it to the next level. My thing is, I'm just going to put it out there. Somebody going to eventually add something to Flip Flop Sauce and make it Flip Flop 2,
Yep.
2.0.
Yep. Yep.
You know what I mean?
For sure. For sure.
So, I mean, it's just us, both of us, I mean, all of us doing that, taking a little something from each one of us and tweaking it. The old got to tweak the young stuff, the young got to tweak the old stuff, and we just going to make it work.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, as we dive into the growth segment, where we do a little bit of tweaking, I'm interested to hear your thought process on what our previous guest said, man. Continue seeking, continue your journey. But what does this mean to you, and how would you apply it, in your mentor perspective as well?
Well, what do I tell people every day, Marcus? Aside from waking up, well, happy
Uh,
what? Happy new day.
Saturday? Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
My thing is, oh, happy new day. It's a new day. It's a new opportunity. Go into your day looking for opportunities. You got chances. You got choices. Be open, because open mind is going to open doors.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Hold on. What? Hold on.
He's on
He
fire!
said, "Open minds gonna open doors." Oh my God. I hope y'all heard that one. Hey, that was a bar right there.
Nah. I love it. I love it. And this is just Carl inside game 101, right?
Yeah.
Not Carl.
Got to.
Now, knowing that and applying that as well, I'm curious to know what would be your growth segment. What would be your gem that you leave for the next individual to reflect on as well?
Just if you don't know, ask.
Hmm.
And if you got something on your heart and you want to do it, why not do it? I can give you one more. If you don't see it, be it. If you don't see the positive in your neighborhood, be the positive in your neighborhood. Because one of the things I try to go by is you have to be the example of what you want to see. If ain't nobody doing it, then you do it. You show them what it looks like. People say all the time, I don't see nobody else. I don't see nobody passing out this. But okay, well, damn it, then do it.
Yep.
You started.
Yep.
Hey, I would have bet my last dollar that would have been the first one that you said. I'd have been out a dollar. I'd have been out a dollar.
Yes,
But now
sir.
that's definitely it, man. We got too many problem minded individuals when they could be solution oriented without a doubt. And I think that's why so many people are walking around mad, flustered, upset when they have the solution in mind. They just don't manifest on it. You talked about, right, journey of 1,000 miles begins with a first step, right? You got to take action, and I commend you for doing just that, and now being a prime example for others wanting to do it as well too. Carl, how old were you when you really started dabbling in this community work, if you don't mind me asking?
Um, about 40.
40, right? I think about the Colonel. I think about somebody who created recipes over and over and over and over, and it stuck, right? When he was in his 50s doing the same stuff. But, bro, when I
Right.
tell you, I can't tell you how many times I hear your name when I hear Impact in the City. And to think that somebody, all these other individuals had all these years, all this experience, all these degrees and things of that nature to do it. But it started because you saw something, you filled the gap, and you did it out of pure hearted impact, man. And I love that so much. And I will forever be an advocate for everything in which you do, man, for setting the tone. So again, I
Thank you.
appreciate you. I can talk about you this whole podcast episode, man, but I appreciate you for hopping on. I appreciate you for being an example. I appreciate you for being genuine in everything you do, man. I think so many individuals in this field can learn so much about how to make impact from just studying you, man. So again, I appreciate you more than you know, brother. For real, for real.
No. I appreciate you, man, because like I said, you make me better. You keep me on my toes. You keep me connected. You know, watching you guys do your thing and having this opportunity. Like it's easy for me to slip into my own life and what's going on. Shit, I'm getting old. I got this. But damn, I still got something I can bring to the podcast. Like I said, we all have a little something that we can give. No, how big or small it is. I was able to give something, so that gave me purpose. They gave me a new day to look forward to. You know what I mean?
For sure. To your point, one thing I would challenge youngins to do, tap in with your OG. You used to your OG tapping in with you, reaching out, asking how you doing, what you got going on for updates. Tap in with your OG. I'm so intentional about calling this man on a Tuesday just because I know everybody else calling his phone want something. Hey, I don't even want nothing. How you doing though? You good, boss? What you eat today? Where are you trying to come for lunch? Like just
And
things of
I
that
appreciate
nature,
that.
man.
I appreciate that.
But for sure, it's all love. But I know you're doing it for everybody else. We got to check on our strong people, man. We got to check on the people who checking on everybody else. And if you ain't doing that, I would challenge you to make it your mission, man. If somebody has poured into you, who has left a great impression on you, made any form of impact, make sure you reciprocate. Make sure you tap back in with them because as they're paying it forward to everybody else, put a little bit of a battery in their back, man. Let them know that you're thinking about them just like they're thinking about everybody else, man. And that's one thing I've learned from our relationship, and I pride myself on just checking in.
Thank you, man. Thank you, man.
For sure.
Thank you.
For sure.
For
Man,
sure, for sure.
but Carl, man, from Chicago all the way to North Carolina to DC, man, we appreciate you coming, blessing the podcast with all your wisdom. I definitely took a lot of gems from this. So man, just wanna, man, again, thank you for your time because it meant a lot.
Thank you. Like I said, thank you for the opportunity, man. And thank you. If nobody's told you today, thank you for what you're doing.
For sure, I
Keep being the
receive it.
example. Keep being the example, okay?
Yes,
I
sir.
mean, keep being opening the door for the next man. I mean, I applaud you, brothers. Marcus just asked me how old was I when I first started doing it. I was in my 40s. I've told him before. I'm glad that y'all woke up before I did. For the longest it was just me and mine. But you forget sometimes yours ain't always gonna be in your front step. They're gonna
Yep.
be out in the yard. They're gonna be on the street.
Yep.
So build them relationships out in that street to carry over to them. This podcast, I mean, where y'all getting views from? Everywhere.
Yep.
So you're able to work together. Man, it can't do nothing but grow.
Yep. Yes, sir. Let's grow together, man. That's how we do
You
it.
feel me?
You know what I'm saying? It's right there. It's in alignment. But let's grow together, family. Y'all see it. Another dope episode. We appreciate y'all for tuning in. But listen, we all got something to give, even if it's a little bit, man. Until next time, family, we appreciate y'all. Peace out.
Trying to find me a balance in life. While I'm still trying to gamble with life. Wanna be great, it gotta come with a price. Gotta watch what you ask for. I strive for these moments in life. I'm still learning and giving advice. I try carrying the weight of the world. See, I saw when I was losing myself. I had to catch my breath. Nobody got you like you got yourself. So it's important for you to know who you are. Cause in the dark, you gotta fight with your heart. Even if your heart broken apart. But they still gon' judge me. So tell me how that's been here for me. I had to see that everybody didn't love me like everybody ain't for me. I took chances just to see for myself. Cause for the longest I've been hurting myself. Trying to blame someone else. I stand on it, don't regret what I did. Cause I can live that my intentions were real. My heart just needed to heal. Gotta get back to loving myself and trusting myself and better my health. Nobody loves you like you loving yourself. You gotta know who you are. Gotta get back to loving myself and trusting myself